Alright, so imagine breaking up years ago and suddenly bumping into your rich-as-hell ex-girlfriend in an elevator. She spots him holding a baby, and for the first time ever, this icy queen actually loses her cool. But all he can think about is the past. Specifically, the painful memory of her walking the red carpet with a famous actor, smiling so happily. Honestly, it made him feel so incredibly worthless, he could not even bring himself to break up face to face. So he just ghosted her and left. Fast forward a few years, and he finally returns to the city. But guess what? She corners him with teary eyes, begging him to stop running away. She wants him to admit he still loves her and regrets every single day they spent apart. She claims she has only ever loved him, and if he just says the word, she will give him everything. Literally anything. But let's rewind to the moment he first ran into Xia Wanqiu again. It was right after summer ended, on his sister's 31st birthday. His brother-in-law booked a nice hotel to celebrate, and Ye Chen walked into the elevator carrying his little niece. Out of nowhere, the little girl points at a massive poster inside the elevator. She looks up super curious and says, "Uncle, this lady is so pretty." Ye Chen looks at the ad, and his heart instantly drops.
It is her, Xia Wanqiu, and apparently she has been absolutely killing it in business lately.
Running a massive global empire now, but his niece is totally fascinated by her. She points right at the name on the poster and asks him what those words say. Ye Chen stays silent, his chest tightening up from all the old memories. Right as all those old feelings start rushing back, the elevator doors ding open. He hears himself quietly whisper her name, Xia Wanqiu. His niece giggles, but suddenly a smooth and sweet female voice speaks up right beside them. She asks if he was just talking about her, and hearing that voice, he immediately looks up.
He locks eyes with Xia Wanqiu, and seriously, the drama in this scene is unmatched. She just stares at him, looking totally shocked to see him there.
But she quickly masks it, putting back on her classic cold-as-ice expression. He never in a million years imagined they would run into each other like this. Xia Wanqiu forces a tiny, strained smile. She looks incredibly pale as she quietly says, "Ye Chen, long time no see." He just nods, feeling completely frozen in place. He does not even have the courage to speak to her, but luckily the elevator finally reaches his floor. He practically sprints out with his niece, but then she suddenly calls out, "Do you have a kid now?" Before he can even process the question, his niece instantly pipes up. She proudly tells her that he is actually her uncle, super handsome, unmarried, and totally single. Talk about a clutch wingman. Ye Chen just exhales a heavy breath, his chest aching. Feeling her intense gaze burning into his back, he cannot handle it. So he basically runs away. Later, halfway through the birthday dinner, he sneaks outside. He steps out for some fresh air and lights a cigarette, taking a deep drag. Leaning against the window, he blows out a perfect ring of white smoke. He quietly watches the heavy traffic below, thinking about how rough his life has been since they parted. There were times he had to pinch every single penny just to survive, but thankfully, he made it through. The night is quiet until he hears footsteps approaching him with a very deliberate, cautious pace. He looks up to see Xia Wanqiu standing a few feet away, hands in her pockets. Her eyes are completely unreadable as she stares at him, breaking the silence. She notes that he learned to smoke, pointing out he never had that habit before. Honestly, she is always impossible to read. Ye Chen just lowers his eyes. He expertly puts out his cigarette and addresses her coldly as President Xia, asking if she really came all this way just to nitpick his bad habits. His footsteps echo sharply across the empty, quiet floor, creating this super tense atmosphere. Honestly, every single beat is low-key hitting his heart as he walks right up. But suddenly, Xia Wanqiu grabs his arm, calling out his name. She desperately asks if he really has absolutely nothing left to say to her. Her voice sounds surprisingly vulnerable, making him finally look up. He catches her eyes welling up with tears, like, what is there to say? Are they supposed to just reminisce and magically rekindle things? Ye Chen reminds himself not to fold. He can literally love anyone else now. Anyone but her. He has to repeat this to himself like a warning. No going back to his ex. Xia Wanqiu just looks down, defeated. Instead of answering, she demands to know where he has been all this time. She explains she searched everywhere but got absolutely zero leads. Talk about dedication. He asks what Miss Xia even wants with him, knowing their dynamic. To him, his departure was no different than her losing some random pet cat. If she felt happy, she fed him. If she got bored, he would starve. He was just a pet to her. Seeing him act completely unfazed now? Xia Wanqiu just stares at him, trying to memorize every detail of his face. She calls him cold-hearted for just vanishing without a single explanation. Asking how he dared. Back in college when they first started dating, he was just a student while she was already running her family enterprise. Her social circle was huge and packed with nothing but filthy rich heirs. A small-town guy like him felt completely out of place and invisible around them. Sure, she was sweet and took care of literally everything in the relationship. While normal students were stressing over exams and college majors, Xia Wanqiu was showing him a whole new world, from rowing in London to visiting art shows in Paris and driving under beautiful American sunsets. They spent money like water in Rome, where a single night out could easily cost more than what a normal family makes in a year. Honestly, she was a perfect partner, but it just was not his reality. That luxury was not his world, and the class divide was just too massive. This whole relationship was completely unbalanced from day one, which is low-key heartbreaking. He could not even text his girlfriend whenever he wanted, like normal couples. Since she was always working, he was constantly terrified of bothering her. Her rich friends never even bothered to ask for his name, assuming he was just some pretty toy she kept around. Deep down, he knew. He would always be beneath her while she held all the power. But then came the breaking point. He saw a famous actor holding her waist at a gala looking perfect. Unlike him, and honestly, it was not even jealousy that hit him. It was pure, suffocating insecurity crawling deep from within his bones. That feeling absolutely crushed his self-esteem, making him completely despise himself. He hated that he could never fit in or ever be good enough. Because of that, he had to leave. Having her around made him feel too safe, so on a totally ordinary night, he quietly packed up and moved out of the apartment she bought him. No breakup, no goodbyes. He dumped his SIM card and cut all ties. He wanted to make sure he was actually worthy of her next time. Talk about a pride move, but he just wanted to be respected. He moved away, working himself to the bone. Rough times. But years later, he made it as a high-end designer, getting headhunted back home. Now he is back. Ghosting her was incredibly selfish, but he couldn't accept being a charity case. Forcing a relationship back then would have just ended in misery anyway. Back to reality. She looks way more mature now, making him let out a long sigh. Years apart completely changed his mindset, and honestly, the pacing here is crazy. Now, he only weighs pros and cons. Right now, the vibe between them is built on years of awkward silence, with her clinging to his college self, keeping him up on a pedestal like some untouchable first love. He is just different now.
He just sighs.
He admits he ran away too fast, but tells her they have no future. All this obsession she is holding on to, it means nothing to him now.
But she won't let go.
She drags him into the stairwell, her soft, feminine warmth pressing close. She corners him completely. With teary, bloodshot eyes, she stubbornly holds him down and refuses to let go. She tells him she already lost him once and she won't do it again. No time to react. Xia Wanqiu makes a bold move, but the harder he struggles to escape, the tighter she locks him in her embrace, breathing heavily against him. Hot tears hit his chest. She is crying.
In that cramped stairwell, her voice cracks as she begs him not to hide. She says Ye Chen told her he was miserable and regretted the breakup daily, and she will give him anything he wants.
He stays silent.
It is crazy to realize even poised girls like her can totally lose control.
But is she really crying for him, or is her own life just messy? But she has another man. Why is she doing this? Pushing her off, he asks if she would even believe him. As they lock eyes, you can see the hope in her eyes completely die. When he finally slips out, his sister is already frantically searching for him. Seeing his face fall, his brother-in-law asked what was wrong. Nothing, he replied, just stepped out to get some air. We should head back now, little Yun piped up. Hey, uncle, I ran into a really pretty lady in the elevator today. His sister asked if he knew her, and turns out she was his college ex. That explained everything. Now she finally understood why he kept refusing. She had spent years pushing him to give other girls a chance, but he always shut them down. Was he still hung up on her? Seeing he was still hurting, his sister did not push further. She just gently squeezed his hand. She already had a family and kids, so obviously she wanted someone caring for him too. But she cared way more about his happiness. Honestly, staying single forever was perfectly fine, she assured him with a warm, comforting look. Honestly, plenty of women had tried to shoot their shot with him over the years. They were always incredibly passionate, stunning, and so sweet. Thoughtful, but he just could not. He simply did not have the guts to start over, believing the real issue was entirely on him. He had slowly lost the ability to love anyone. Fast forward to Monday morning.
His assistant, Xiao Song, was giving a briefing in the office while he focused on sketching some jewelry.
Classic multitasker. Once the talk finished, Xiao Song hesitated for a second, saying a gorgeous woman had just stopped by looking for him. She was stunning. Did she happen to leave her name? No, she just insisted on seeing you. Tell her to wait in the conference room. I will be right there. Pushing open the meeting room door? He immediately understood why she demanded to meet. Xia Wanqiu was acting pretty strange today, seeming much more relaxed than usual. Seeing him walk in, her eyes shifted slightly from the moment he entered until he finally sat down. Her gaze never left him for a single second. President Xia sure moves fast, he noted. To track down his studio this quickly, he smirked while looking right at the woman opposite him. Even though she clearly detected his sarcastic tone, Xia Wanqiu completely ignored it with a shrug. She was there for business, asking him if he would design a custom diamond ring for her. Her eyes were cool and clean, but asking her ex to design this is absolutely wild. He pursed his lips tightly and calmly took a slow sip of his coffee. Only a fool rejects cash, especially when it is coming from a wealthy capitalist CEO like her. Keeping things strictly professional, he still had to ask her one key question. Is it okay to ask what this ring is for? Just a wedding, she replied. While saying those words, her eyes softened with some actual, genuine warmth. It was a look of pure tenderness he had never seen before, making his coffee spill right over. Startled, he quickly set it down, asking if the groom was indeed that famous actor. A massive celebrity wedding like that definitely called for a custom piece to match his high status. Xia Wanqiu gave him a loaded look, asking if it was too hard. If President Xi has any specific demands, she can easily discuss them with his assistant. They can handle all the details, and he will personally send over the drafts for her final approval. Direct contact was better, she insisted, since her boyfriend was super picky about these things. If the final design was not up to his standards, she would be the one suffering. Come on, Ye Chen. They were old flames after all, so surely he could do this small favor. He glares at his coworkers outside the room, making his threat crystal clear. Since he won, Ye Chen doesn't want their relationship going public just yet. When Xia Wanqiu pulls out her phone to add him, a highly satisfied smirk plays on her lips. She stays surprisingly quiet. She doesn't send a text or even ask how his designs are going. Ye Chen is totally fine with this because meeting her always makes him crazy nervous. Fate is so cruel. Out of nowhere, he runs into that famous best actor as he's heading home. The guy is literally coming out of the opposite apartment, looking in a massive rush. They bump straight into each other by the elevator, and the actor surprisingly calls out Ye Chen's name. Ye Chen turns around, stunned. The actor looks totally friendly, pointing a long finger to ask if he lives here. Ye Chen nods, and suddenly a light bulb goes off in the actor's head. With a warm smile, he realizes he hasn't even introduced himself properly yet. He reveals he's Xia Wanqiu's older brother, Brother Xiangyang. Bro, what a twist! So everything clicks. So the mystery guy attending that fancy banquet with her was just her actual brother. He laughs, saying he finally gets why his sister insisted on buying a condo here. He asks if he can come inside for a bit, and of course, Ye Chen agrees. But honestly, the shock is so massive that Ye Chen is practically in a daze. He asks for liquor. Ye Chen just gives him a polite smile, noticing how clean and sharp he looks. From the second he walked in, the actor has been quietly sizing him up. But his gaze also holds a strange warmth as he asks a sudden question. So, sitting across the sofa, he asks if Ye Chen is curious how he already knew his name. Ye Chen just looks down quietly, guessing it has to be about Xia Wanqiu. Xiangyang nods. Back then, his sister went absolutely wild trying to find him, turning everything upside down. But she couldn't find a single trace, leading to a truth that's hard to believe. He explains that she's usually so cold and detached, but she lost her mind over him. He understood. But despite telling her they would meet again, she still searched for over half a year. Slowly, her hope faded, and he had to watch his sister sink into a dark depression. Until one day, he went to check on her and witnessed a scene he can never forget. She was lying unconscious in the bathtub with a deep cut on her wrist. Ye Chen freezes. Did Xia Wanqiu actually try to end her own life because of him? As Xiangyang breaks down in tears, a cold shiver runs straight down Ye Chen's spine. His blood completely runs cold while the actor struggles to control his sobbing. Xiangyang panicked. He rushed to call an ambulance, and those agonizing hours waiting outside surgery felt endless. He feared the absolute worst, but luckily they managed to save her life. But when she woke up completely broken, her very first words were devastating. She asked why he even saved her. Ye Chen, his once bright sister, was gone. His sister was completely ruined, the actor says, tears streaming down his face. As the reality sinks in, our MC's heart starts aching from the sheer weight. He never knew any of this, and the guilt is hitting him like a truck. Xia Wanqiu slowly calms down, wiping away his tears. He shakes his head with a bitter smile, saying it's not our MC's fault. His sister was just too stubborn when it came to love. Don't let her cold attitude fool you. She genuinely loved him to her core. Now that he's back, regardless of whether they can actually patch things up, he just hopes they can clear up the past. Xia Wanqiu stands up, patting his shoulder. Looking up, our MC can see nothing but pure encouragement in his eyes. It's like he's saying it's okay, but that only makes the guilt burn worse. His mind is completely flooded. He seriously needs some time right now. He needs to process everything with Xia Wanqiu, grabbing Xia Xiangyang's hand as he speaks. Our MC finally nods. Fast forward to Friday night. The club is absolutely packed with people dancing. In a VIP booth nearby, the crew is celebrating Chen Hao's birthday, but our MC is totally spaced out. Chen Hao slides over, saying he honestly never expected this. Xia Wanqiu was actually that devoted. Seriously, it shocked everyone who heard. Dropping his usual playful vibe, Chen Hao gets completely serious. He admits he used to think she was just some spoiled rich girl. He thought she treated our MC like trash, but now everything looks different. Our MC looks up as Chen Hao drops a major truth bomb. Honestly, this backstory is wild. He explains that a few years ago, Xia Wanqiu actually came looking for him. She looked absolutely devastated back then, like she had completely lost her soul. She kept begging for our MC's whereabouts, but Chen Hao was still petty. So he refused to say a word, but looking back now, he regrets it. If he had just told her, she might still be alive today. Man, the regret is real. Chen Hao sighs in deep regret, downing his drink in one shot. Our MC looks down, his chest tightening with pure agony. He decides to head out early, telling the guys to have fun. Before anyone can stop him, Angela jumps up, saying she's completely sober. She insists on driving him home. Our MC looks over at Chen Hao. Chen Hao just shrugs. See, Angela is their old high school classmate. Ever since our MC returned, she's been pursuing him like crazy. Chen Hao mentioned she's had a crush since high school, but our MC was too dense. He never noticed. Our MC tries to decline, saying he doesn't want to trouble her. He smiles and says a cab is totally fine. But Angela is super persistent, telling him not to take a cab after drinking. She claims his place is right on her way home anyway. Seeing how enthusiastic she is, our MC realizes he can't really say no. He finally gives in. His place is super close to the bar anyway. A quick 10-minute drive and they arrive. The night air is crisp. Under the dim street lights, our MC smiles and thanks her for the ride. He appreciates her driving him home so late and his sincere look. Her cheeks flush red immediately. She giggles, brushing her hair back. She tells him it's no big deal before taking a deep breath. She seems nervous, asking if he is free this weekend. She shyly asks to treat him to dinner, looking super embarrassed. Ye Chen declines, claiming he has to work overtime. She quickly saves him from the awkwardness, not wanting to be a burden. No worries, she says. You must be busy.
She smiles, telling him to hit her up whenever he's free.
But he drops the hammer. He is just not looking to date right now. He tells her straight up not to waste her time on him. The brutal, cold rejection completely freezes the smile right on poor Angela's face. Honestly, the drama here is insane. Ye Chen and his ex, Xia Wanqiu, are equally stubborn. He turns to leave, but she calls out. Her eyes burn with passion as she vows to wait for him. Then she bolts. Fearing another rejection, she dives into her car and speeds into the dark. Love is a toxic game. Despite the constant rejections, she still offers him her whole heart. But pity is not love. He can never return her feelings, pulling his jacket tighter against the cold. He heads to the elevator. The doors ding open, and a heavy wave of alcohol hits him instantly. There she is, sitting right by his door, looking completely exhausted. Still classy. But empty bottles litter the floor. How much did she drink? His heart stops. They lock eyes. This is low-key heartbreaking, seeing the proud Xia Wanqiu look so utterly helpless. She bites her lip. She softly starts to ask a question, but chokes on the words. Silence. His knuckles turn white as she asks about the woman who dropped him off. Are they together? Her pale face is welling up with tears. So she drank because of this? It is not what you think, he says. He reaches to help, but she harshly pushes his hand away. Devastated. She lets out a bitter, self-mocking laugh, asking what she even means to him. She kicks a can, stumbling away. She just leaves, no explanation. That night, Ye Chen tosses and turns, dreaming of their past together. Memories flash like a slideshow. Xia Wanqiu had planned a massive surprise, making it his happiest birthday ever. She promised to love only him. They kissed under jealous eyes. But back then, since he slept poorly, she always stayed awake with him. She would gently pat his back. Don't be scared, Chen. It is just a dream, she would say, a voice he deeply missed abroad. Seriously, our main character was completely obsessed with Xia Wanqiu's unique scent. But she only ever treated him with coldness, and honestly, he was too cowardly to push. He didn't even dare to show how deeply in love he actually was with her. Terrified she would see through him, or make him share her with another man. That's why he stayed abroad for years, completely refusing to ever come back. He was too terrified of hearing she married someone else, until a nightmare woke him. The clock read 2 a.m, so he got up to grab some water. Just then, his phone suddenly rang out of nowhere with an unknown number. He picked it up, instantly hearing a ton of noisy background music playing. A girl's voice came through, sounding incredibly relieved to hear him. She says, "Brother-in-law, thank goodness you answered. Sister Wan called us all out to drink tonight. She's been downing drinks like there's no tomorrow, and she won't listen to anyone. None of us can stop her, and now she is completely wasted and passed out. We think she did it because of you. Do you think you can come pick her up right now?" His head started pounding in frustration, and he quickly asked her for the address. He rushed straight to the bar, where her childhood friend, Wang Mei, was already waiting for him. She calls out, "Brother-in-law, you're finally here! Sister Wan is still totally out." He asks if she was the one who called him, and she nods. She mentions that even while drunk, Sister Wan kept calling out his name over and over again. He freezes in his tracks, making Wang Mei look back in total confusion at his reaction. He brushes it off, and they step inside to find Xia Wanqiu fast asleep. Even completely wasted, she looks incredibly peaceful and innocent sleeping there, like a child. With her flushed, delicate cheeks, she looks way softer and more endearing than when she's awake. He gently carries her to the backseat of his car and turns to leave. But Wang Mei stops him, saying she knows things are pretty complicated between them right now. But calling him brother-in-law was actually something Xia Wanqiu herself always wanted them to do. They've never called anyone else by that name, and looking around, the streets are already completely empty tonight. In the heavy silence, he just leans back against his car, hands in his pockets. He softly notes that back then, none of her friends even asked for his name.
He chuckles, still feeling a bit bitter about being treated like her kept pet all along.
But Wang Mei instantly cuts in, telling him he has got it all wrong this time. Xia Wanqiu only wanted to protect him because she knew he was young and sensitive. She worried that too much attention from her friends would make him feel uncomfortable. Behind closed doors, they never considered anyone else to be her husband except him. She's had a really rough few years, but it's not her friend's place to overshare everything. She tells him to ask her himself when she wakes, and he sighs deeply. Looking back, Xia Wanqiu's friends have always been super protective of him in their own way. They never looked down on him just because they came from completely different social worlds than he did. Turns out, she had secretly paved the way for him the entire time they were apart. He laughs mockingly at himself. Xia Wanqiu really is a massive fool after all. How many secrets is she actually hiding from him during this short 10-minute drive? The trip feels like an eternity, and she's mostly sobered up by the time they arrive. As the elevator slowly goes up, both of them stay completely silent the whole way. He finally breaks the heavy quiet, asking why she bought the apartment right across from his own. She looks down softly, quietly telling him the truth over the sound of the falling rain. She admits she wants to see him more, but Ye Chen stays silent. He steps out of the elevator first, realizing his excuse to stay over is officially dead. Xia Wanqiu has no choice but to obediently type in her front door passcode. Just as Ye Chen tells her to rest, she suddenly gets a burst of strength.
She drags him inside and swiftly shuts the door behind them in the pitch black.
Pinning him against the door, she stands on her tiptoes to kiss him. An alcohol-fueled kiss crashes down on him, completely catching him off guard. No hesitation at all. She is kissing him with absolute, out-of-control passion. Half-dazed, Ye Chen wraps his arms around her waist as she flips on the lights. The entryway floods with light as Xia Wanqiu rests her head against his chest. With eyes full of raw emotion, she apologizes for not listening to his explanation. She waited hours for him, only to see another woman driving him home. She got insanely jealous, and now she looks like a guilty child, begging for his forgiveness. Seeing this cold female lead turn into a shy, blushing mess is pure gold. Ye Chen cannot even remember, and his own face starts heating up. Feeling his face burning, he gently explains that she got it all wrong. That girl was pursuing him, but he turned her down, and her gaze softens. With starlight shining in her eyes, Ye Chen suddenly sweeps her up in his arms. Whispering that he cannot hold back anymore, they spend the night together. The next morning, Ye Chen wakes up in her bed and walks out. He finds Xia Wanqiu in the kitchen, cooking some hot breakfast for them. She brings over a steaming bowl of porridge, sweet-talkingly asking him to try it. Sitting at the counter, the delicious aroma hits him immediately. But as he stirs the bowl aimlessly, he realizes he has no appetite. Looking at her still bustling around, his expression suddenly turns serious. He suddenly asks about the scar. Xia Wanqiu freezes up instantly, unable to look him in the eye. He tries to take her hand, but she pulls back, calling it ugly. Ignoring her protests, he gently grabs her hand to examine the deep mark. Seeing that deep scar is low-key heartbreaking, guys. I did not see this coming. If her brother had not shown up that day, she would be gone. If she had actually died because of him, he could never forgive himself. He would be living in absolute guilt forever, but she just wipes his tears. She softly asks why he is crying when she is perfectly fine now. She admits she hated him to her core when he first vanished. She kept wondering why he made her fall, only to abandon her. But she eventually blamed herself, thinking she simply was not good enough. But from the very first day they met, she was completely locked in. She had already decided she was going to marry him, no matter what. Hearing her gentle words only makes Ye Chen break down even harder. Realizing how much she suffered, he watches her panic to dry his eyes. Gently kissing his tears away, she whispers that he is her ultimate weakness. She hated him for years, yet hates seeing him hurt even more. Just watching him cry makes her entire world fall apart. Chen asks her if he is stuck with her forever, admitting he was way too stubborn back then. But they need to clear the air because there are too many misunderstandings between them. He pulls Wanqiu to the sofa to explain how insecure he truly felt when they were together. Honestly, he was just a broke college student back then with absolutely nothing to his name. While she was already a highly successful businesswoman, making him feel completely unworthy. He was so intimidated that he never shared his happy moments with her. And he definitely kept his sad days to himself, knowing how busy she always was. He was terrified of disturbing her work, leaving him feeling constantly inferior. Her naturally aloof personality only made him feel more like an outsider. He genuinely thought she was just playing with him, treating him like a kept canary in a cage. Hearing this, Wanqiu stares at him in absolute disbelief, her voice filled with certainty. She never once saw him that way, finally realizing the massive communication gap between them. She asks how he could have misunderstood her feelings so badly this entire time. Leaning close into his arms, she asks if he actually knows why she fell for him. He just shakes his head, completely clueless about her feelings.
So she patiently explains that their very first encounter was at Quinny's cemetery.
He was wearing a clean white shirt, holding a bouquet of chrysanthemums. She was there visiting her late father on a day it was pouring rain.
She was completely drenched when she walked past him.
Out of nowhere, he handed her his umbrella, leaving her wondering what he would do. He claimed he lived nearby and immediately ran off into the storm. By the time she stepped out of it to look for him, he was already gone. Wanqiu chuckled softly, admitting she had never met a guy like him before. He was so incredibly kind that he would rather get soaked to help a stranger. That selfless act is exactly why she used her connections to find him. Back then, her entire plan was to marry him the moment he graduated. But his independent nature got in the way as he refused to rely on her wealth. He was not clingy like other guys who wanted her attention 24/7. Honestly, she is low-key possessive and hated seeing him near other girls. She got jealous seeing him chat happily with his classmates. She even hated that she was not a student sharing a common world with him. So she had to act indifferent, respecting his space and decisions in everything. But that exact respect made him believe she did not love him at all.
Hearing this, Chen is absolutely stunned because she had never shared this side of herself.
He finally realizes how deeply she actually cared about him. Now that everything is laid bare, he confesses his own fears. He admits he was too terrified to show his love, fearing she would look down on him. He truly believed a kept canary was not allowed to fall for their benefactor. He hid his heart simply because he was too scared of getting hurt in the end. She calls him a fool, admitting she was actually the insecure one in their relationship. She was terrified he only saw her money, wishing he would at least love her for that. But she quickly realized money was never what he cared about. This raw confession completely breaks his heart, pushing him to reveal his biggest secret. He confesses that his insecurities were not the only reason he walked away. At the time, he actually thought Brother Xiangyang was her real boyfriend. Wanqiu is honestly so shocked, asking why he never just asked her about it. She explains she was literally just accompanying her brother to a business dinner back then. As they finally clear up all these old misunderstandings, our boy finally gets the truth. Like the 7-year misunderstanding between them was actually so deep. That night, Wanqiu talks her heart out in his arms until she is completely exhausted. She drifts off to sleep, and Ye Chen gently kisses her lips.
After tucking her safely into bed, things completely change now that they are finally back together.
Seriously, she wants to cling to him 24/7 and takes him everywhere. She is low-key terrified he will disappear again, and honestly, we cannot even blame her. Ye Chen totally gets it, since losing someone and getting him back leaves you so insecure. Even though he constantly reassures her that he is never going to leave again. But every single night, she still holds him incredibly tight, like she is trying to lock him into her life. Of course, her brother, Xiangyang, is absolutely thrilled to see them together like this. He is literally crying tears of joy, and then, boom, 1 month later. Ye Chen finally proposes, and honestly, the sheer effort he put into this is insane. Her childhood friend, Chen Hao, even shows up to help cover the entire room in red roses. Every single detail is perfect. Wanqiu looks absolutely stunning. She is glowing. He gets down on one knee, looking up with pure devotion. It is the exact ring she once asked him to design, which is high-key brilliant of her. She was playing the long game from the start, and Ye Chen takes a deep breath. He fights back his nerves and tells her this is officially their 6th year together. Even though he was gone for 4 long years, the fog outside finally starts to clear. The light pours in, and she has never looked more perfect to him. He tells her it started as a normal day with her sleeping right beside him. Fast asleep, right there in his arms. He literally could not look away from her and refused to fall asleep, just because he was terrified she would disappear the moment he closed his eyes. Staring at her, he decided right then and there that he was going to propose, no matter how rushed it felt or if it might startle her. He wanted to give his girl a real proposal after everything she endured for him. It is finally his turn to be brave and bring her home. He asks if she will marry him, and her hands start shaking. The crowd goes absolutely wild, chanting for her to say yes, and honestly, this payoff is everything. Hearing the chance of marry him, Ye Chen realizes how lucky he is. Knowing she waited all this time makes all those painful, sleepless nights worth it. Wanqiu picks up the ring with tears in her eyes. She slides it onto her finger and declares she is officially Mrs. Liu. The cheering peaks, but honestly, she only has eyes for him. Under the silver moonlight, he pulls her into a tight, emotional hug. She whispers that he is the absolute best gift she could ever ask for. But little does she know, she is actually his ultimate saving grace. And here is the thing, he never told her what happened years ago. On the day they first met at the cemetery, she had just lost her family. She sat quietly on the cemetery steps for a long time as the sky grew dark. Then, Xia Wanqiu passed by carrying a really comforting scent. Suddenly, a light rain started falling over the graves. Xia Wanqiu walked over and took a heavy coat from his bodyguard. He draped it over her shoulders, saying her clothes were too thin. "Don't catch a cold. It's late, so head home soon." Honestly, despite shivering from the cold himself, his eyes were incredibly warm. Xia Wanqiu probably had no idea how much that simple act meant. It gave her so much comfort. She just silently nodded. Seeing him getting soaked, she pulled a spare umbrella from her bag and gave it to him. Talk about a fateful meeting. He actually remembered that tiny gesture for years. She was like a fragile flower on a cliff, with everyone else trying to tear her down. But Xia Wanqiu was the only one who held an umbrella over her. He promised to always protect her, telling her to just keep blooming.